What's going on, everyone? So, Kevin Porter Jr., per reports from Fred Katz, Kevin Porter Jr. has informed the Milwaukee Bucks that he will not pick up his $3 million option and will enter free agency. Again, this is per Eric Nehm and Fred Katz. If you're the Lakers, I think you make an offer. I think you make a push for him, right? If you can get him on a vet minimum contract, I don't hate the idea at all. I wouldn't want to use my taxpayer money. There are risks with him, right? But if you can get him, the guy's a bucket getter, right? Lakers desperately needed scoring off the bench last year. I think he's a guy that can come in and be your sixth man and go get you. Last year he was 10 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists, but he was kind of all over the place for Milwaukee. Not like him specifically, but like his role. There were games where he just was hardly playing, games where he'd play 30 minutes and he'd go give him 30 points and you're like, wow, why isn't he playing more? I think if he was to get a consistent role, I think he could be probably a 15-point-a-game guy off the bench for the Lakers, which would be great. He can be a little inconsistent at times. He kind of has his moments where he's lights out and you just kind of give him the ball and get out of his way and let him cook and you can just go drop 30. And then there's times where you're kind of all right, pull this guy out the game. But that's why I think on a vet minimum contract as a vet minimum signing, I think he would be fantastic. He's 25 years old, just turned 25, by the way, in May. So he won't be 26 till next playoffs. So it's a young guy that can come in, be a scorer, be a bucket getter for you, play a little defense. He's a guy that has shown the capability of being a defensive player, being a two-way guy. He's just inconsistent. Right, and a lot of times he's not super laser focused on the defensive side of things. Right now, if you look at what he did last season, though, he was a 109.8 defensive rating, which was insanely good. But also, again, context and type of role and minutes and whatnot. So again, there are some outliers there, but he has the capability of actually being a good defensive player, good two-way guy, 6'4", with a 6'9" wingspan, so he has all the tools, all the athleticism, can play, essentially 1 through 3 for you with his wingspan and his defensive abilities, and his athleticism. He's a guy that I wanted the Lakers to sign last year on a vet minimum deal, and they didn't, right? And, I understand all the off-court stuff and all that stuff, right? But again, we're talking basketball here, and I think him as a basketball player is fine, right? I think he would be great. He's not a guy that I think is he's the star, right? Anything like that. I look at him as that sixth man off the bench, coming in, playing a role, slotted in, that can hit some shots, play some defense, right? Kind of be a two-way guy for you. That's where I look at, Kevin Porter Jr., right? You look at kind of what he did last year, right? Let's get into the stats here a little bit. So 30 games played for Milwaukee, 45 games played for the Clippers. I'll just go over kind of the full season and then we'll kind of break it down individually. So 75 games played, right? 4 games started, averaged just under 20 minutes per game, 8.7 attempts, 44.9% from the field. He was 31% from three-point range on 2.4 attempts overall, but it's because with the Clippers, he shot 24.5% from three-point range on 2.4 attempts. However, with the Milwaukee Bucks, he shot 41% on 2.4 attempts, right? He'd also be slotted alongside Luka, LeBron, and Austin Reeves. So the quality of looks that he'd get would be wide open. Can he be closer to that 41%? He is a career 35% three-point shooter, so just something to keep in mind. But again, 50% from the 2-point range with both teams, 6.3 attempts, shot an EFG of 49.2%, and a lot of that was just, again, with the Clippers, it was 45.5%, and they shot 48.5% from 2-point range. So again, he was not very good with the Clippers at all. Even free throw shooting was 64.5% on 1.7 attempts. Rebounding, 3.6 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, half a block, and 9.3 points, right? But you look at Milwaukee, right? That's the key. He was actually very good at Milwaukee. 20 minutes per game, 8.2 field goal attempts, shot 49.4%, which was better than with the Clippers by a good margin. 2.4 attempts, like I mentioned, 41% from three-point range. 2-point percentage, he was 53% from 2-point range compared to 48.5% on 5.8 attempts, right? Free throw shooting. Remember, I said with the Clippers, he was 64.5% on 1.7 attempts. With Milwaukee, he was 87.1% on 3.1 attempts, almost double the attempts, and shot, 23% better. And then rebounding, 3.9 rebounds compared to 3.6, 3.7 assists compared to 3.2 assists, and then steals, 1.3 compared to 1, half a block, and then 12 points or just under 12 points per game. You look at his per 36. Per 36 doesn't tell you everything, but it kind of gives you an idea of like what would he look like in a bigger expanded role. He would have been 21 points with 7 rebounds, just under 7 assists, 2.5 steals, half a block per game. For those that are like, that's pretty crazy. Well, this is a guy that was a, 16 to 20 point a game scorer. With Houston in 2022-2023, the last season before he was out of the league, he averaged 19 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 1.5 steals, and half a block. So that per 36 that I just talked about, he literally had a season that was nearly identical, right? So he's not a guy, you look at some guys and it's like, they'll never be that per 36. No, Kevin Porter Jr. can actually be that guy. Again, I don't necessarily like him. I mean, his athleticism defense is better than Austin Reeves, so there is an argument to start him next to Luka over Austin Reeves, but I just don't think they're going to trade Austin Reeves. And I look at Kevin Porter Jr., like give him an expanded role off the bench, right? You can kind of slot him in either guard position because he can make plays, so you can slot him in as your point and you can slot him in as your 2, kind of just let him kind of be the guy on the second bench, right? Like you can play him alongside Luka, LeBron, and Austin Reeves, and he can be a slasher and a bucket getter and just score. And like I said, when he's on, he's one of those guys, you just get out of his way. Let him cook. Let him cook, right? Like that, he's that kind of guy. When he's struggling and he's having his struggles and he just can't find the bottom of the net, he still can impact the game by rebounding, making plays, and playing defense, locked down defensively. It's also very different, right, when you go to a team like the Lakers where, if everyone's bought in, everyone's playing defense, playing alongside LeBron James, right, you're trying to win an NBA championship, you look at the other guys around, and if everyone's bought in, everyone's trying to play defense, you don't want to be the odd man out. Kevin Porter Jr. has the potential to be a good defensive player, right? So I look at Kevin Porter Jr. and I think he is worth the flyer. Again, it really comes down to what is he looking for as far as like playing wise and contract wise, right? Like I don't know if he gets more than a vet minimum though, so he might not be more than a vet minimum. Right? But is he looking for a place to start? Is he like, hey, I'll take the vet minimum, but I want to start. Right? I want to start somewhere and be a bucket getter and try to start getting your money. But also, it might be best for him to go to the Lakers because we've seen guys like Malik Monk is a great example, right? Malik Monk needed the kind of spotlight and attention and, a prove-it year, and the Lakers were able to give that to him, and then he got the bag, right? Kevin Porter Jr., I imagine, probably wants to get back to the bag because he was a guy that was heading in the direction of getting the bag, and he fumbled it. Right. So I look at him and I go, right, like if I was Kevin Porter Jr., I'd be like, I need a place that I can go get the spotlight, get the shine, play the role, and, kind of change my image here. The Lakers is the place to do that. Right. Go to the Lakers. If you're successful and you play well, if you're a 15-point-a-game guy off the bench, you're going to make some money. Right, especially playing for the Lakers. I mean, look at Malik Monk. Again, Malik Monk is a great example. He's not, coming off the bench, being a 6-man guy, right? Being a bucket getter off the bench. Right? Maybe a team would be willing to start him if they're like, he is that, close to that 19-point-a-game guy. He's still only 26 years old. If I'm Kevin Porter Jr., I'm signing at least a 1-year prove-it deal with the Lakers. I'm calling the Lakers and being like, hey, what do you think about signing me? Right? Because again, maybe you go somewhere and get, $5 million on the non-taxpayer mid-level exception. Okay, cool. But like, how long? If you go to the Lakers and you bet on yourself, right? Like, you might get 10 plus million from a team or 8 million a year from a team, or maybe even the Lakers keep you around and sign into a longer term deal, especially if he is killing it and he is playing really well and he is bought into that bench role. Not to say, you got to imagine like Luka, LeBron, and Austin Reeves are probably going to make him look very good, right? Especially Luka and LeBron. Because he's a guy that can, again, shoot the basketball, be that bucket getter, be that slasher, be that scorer, right? Bring him in off the bench, have him be, your like 6-man scorer. Lakers need bench depth. They need help on the bench. They need bucket getter. I mean, Gary Trent Jr. and Kevin Porter Jr. were the 2 guys that I was screaming for the Lakers to sign last year. And they didn't because they didn't have any roster spots, and they ended up going to Milwaukee on vet minimum deals. And it's like, you look at Gary Trent Jr., it's like, man, do you know how much we would have needed a guy like that? Guy was dropping like, averaging like 30 in the playoffs. It's like, we could have desperately used that guy, right? But if you can go and get a guy in a Kevin Porter Jr., bring him in, slot him in, right? That gives you, again, a young player that has some upside. Again, he's not that far removed from being a 19-5-5 guy. Hey, he get back to that, like, that'd be great. If he could be 15-5-5 off the bench, that'd be massive. And again, maybe he is the guy that kind of works his way into where maybe you're like, ooh, maybe we should trade Austin Reaves, right? Like, if he gets back to being a 19-point-a-game guy and better defensively, and if he can be a 19-5-5 guy, right? Like, that's basically Austin Reaves stats, but he's also better defensively, and he's younger. Right, so it's like, man, maybe we can keep Kevin Porter Jr. and go get that. Problem is, Kevin Porter Jr. just can't stay out of his own way. If he can get it, which to his credit, kept his head down in Milwaukee, but with the Clippers, but if he can just get out of his own way, dude, he was a guy that was looked at as like, man, this guy might be a great young stud, right? We'll get back to that, be that guy. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pat's question you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So if you enjoy these types of videos, I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.